Welcome. I'm Samuel with the Dentist Learning Center. In this video, we're going to review a test taking strategy for essay tests. Namely, we'll be looking at the question of how to efficiently interpret essay prompts. While prompts do come in many types and will be on many topics, a lot of the principles toward interpreting them apply across the board. I think they'll be easiest to understand if we look at an example. So let's go ahead and look at a prompt. Now, I want you to start just by reading this over and consider to yourself, how would I go about responding to this prompt? I'm going to give you just a few minutes, and then we're going to look together and talk about better or worse forms of interpretation. Go ahead and pause this video and give yourself some time to read this over. If attempting to interpret this prompt frustrated you right away, then what I'd like to point out is that essay prompts, similar to word problems in math, might be intimidating at first, but when correctly interpreted, become much simpler to tackle. If you were mentally underlining key points and highlighting various areas to make it more understandable, then you were on the right track. So let's just look at a few steps that process should include. A good first step might be to identify familiar aspects of the question. So what topics in this question relate to things I've already read or things that might be in my notes. Something I noticed right away is that statistics are mentioned twice. We should know now that other aspects of the prompt may refer to statistical assumptions or that concepts from our background in statistics may be relevant in answering. Another vital step would be to circle key verbs and examine the requirements associated with those verbs. By following through with these few simple steps, we've become aware of the answer to two important questions regarding this prompt. Number one, what material that we're already familiar with might apply here? And number two, what should we look out for when reading? We know this is an argumentative prompt, so we know it should be made up of two elements, a claim and evidence for that claim. Our instructions were to examine the argument's assumptions and explain their implications. So consequently, the next step toward interpreting this prompt, and many other prompts, will be to highlight the specific pieces of the argument. So when I read through this, what I'm going to be looking out for is what is the evidence and what is the argument, what is the claim being made. As we read through, we see that the group of people being talked about are those who go to the emergency room. Reading further still confirms this as we notice the statement within that group of people. This tells us that everything that is about to be said is only referring to those who attend to the emergency room. This is an immediate limitation to the evidence being used. Another important element I would underline is had accidents in streets or parking lots. These are all details about the kind of evidence that is being cited. The phrase or any light reflecting material reveals that the claim is dependent not just on one type of equipment, not just on protective clothing, but also on light reflecting material. So finally, let's look at the claim itself. By investing in high quality protective gear and reflective equipment, roller skaters, so all roller skaters, will greatly reduce the risk of being severely injured. So what we're dealing with is someone who thinks that because 75% of skating accidents who go to the emergency room, whose accidents took place in a parking lot or street, were not wearing safety gear at all, that all skaters can improve their safety by investing in high quality protective gear and reflective equipment. Hopefully in your first read through, something didn't seem right about these claims, but hopefully now the many assumptions being made are even clearer since going through the simple step of underlining the elements of the argument. I'll go ahead and just mention some of the obvious assumptions that these underlined portions reveal. Number one, that those who go to the emergency room for accidents make up enough people to represent the entire skating population. Number two, that those who have accidents in streets and parking lots must be due to not wearing equipment, not due to someone running into them or not being aware on the road. Number three, that only high quality protective gear could solve this problem, when in fact something very simple and lower quality could work. And another, that the absence of reflecting material and protective clothing are just as important. None of the evidence supported those claims, so we know that these are assumptions. That there's a lot of others, and yes, there's other elements to the instructions that we'd want to consider. But what I really want to demonstrate is just how the interpretation step of answering an essay question can simplify the process. Once you've highlighted these elements of the question, a great next step before actually writing would be to take another few minutes to create an outline. This whole process should be rather quick when taking the test, potentially taking up only a few minutes tops. It's a few minutes well spent, since this will help simplify the prompt, make it clear what should be mentioned in our answer, and help equip us with a diagram for timing, since knowing where we are in an outline will allow us to allocate our time more effectively. Finally, remember not to worry about an intro. Focus on answering the question in full. Come back later if you have time for an intro. That's all for today. I just wanted to give us a quick introduction to interpreting essay prompts by looking at an example. Once again, this is Samuel Rowe from the Dennis Learning Center, signing off from today's educational short.